game since coming here from Boston. You've been a big point producer. You get 2 more assists tonight. Just, I don't know, what's been working for you? It seems like you fit in really well. Is that it? Is it just the comfortability?
Yeah, I think I've just been getting like a big opportunity here to play with like really good players and get a lot of ice time. I feel like that's really big in this league. Like there's a lot of good players, but it's just about getting an opportunity sometimes. And yeah, I think we have really good offensive players on this team, so I've just really enjoyed playing with them.
In that regard, I mean, you assist on Hillary's goal. Just how cool is it to play with her again and be her teammate again after sharing some ice, I think, last year in Boston?
Yeah, I mean, it's surreal. I remember the first year in Boston when I first saw her, I was so starstruck. And honestly, I mean, I've gotten to know her better now, but still, like, on the ice, like, I still have to pinch myself sometimes. Like, it's amazing. Like, this is, like, literally one of the most decorated, or probably the most decorated player ever. So, yeah, just so cool to be able to play with her.
And Lily, for you, your line, with you and Sydney and Jada seemed to generate some good chances. Jada's got a goal, you get an assist tonight. Just what have you liked about the way your group has been able to, contribute for this team on the ice?
Yeah, it's been really fun getting to play with them, and especially fun too because we're all rookies. But I think that we try to communicate a lot, and the coaches give us obviously systems to work on, and I think that us 3 have tried our best to just really work those systems and be in the right spots at the right time. So I think that's definitely helped. And then just being chatty, off and on the ice too. So it's been really fun to be able to play with them as well.
Theresa, that Alex Carpenter goal in the second period doesn't happen without a really nice screen from you. What goes into being a really solid screen?
Honestly, I think it's just about being willing to go there. I think it's really hard to score goals in this league, so I never really used to do that growing up, going to the net much, but I think that's what our coaches in Boston and now here too, like always like tell us to go to the net because like I think that's where literally most of the goals are being scored at. So I think it's just about getting behind the D and really making sure you like stay in front of the goalie's eyes, and then I mean it's so much harder to stop the puck if the goalie can't see it. So yeah, pretty simple honestly. I just gotta stand there.
So for either or both of you, I got to have the opportunity. I sat with the fans, and so the last 2 minutes was a lot of, oh my God, not deja vu. What was that last 2 minutes like for you guys on the ice in comparison to what happened at the last game?
I think Steve talked about in between periods, like just willing to win and get the win. And obviously it's been a bit of a grind this year, but I think you could tell like our team wanted it, and you could feel the energy on the bench and the desperation too there at the end. So I feel like it was just coming down to compete, and just I felt like our team wanted it more. So I don't know if he's anything else, but.
Yeah, and I think it was really massive for us to get that last goal there, because if you have like 2 goals, a 2-goal lead, I think you can be a lot more comfortable in those situations, because at the end of the day, yeah, you can compete really hard, but if it's 6-on-5, like something can always happen. It could be a bad bounce and you can get scored on, which kind of like happened there once, but then we knew we still had a 1-goal lead, so I think that made us more comfortable.
And then Lily, for you, we've had a lot of opportunity to talk about your growth so far this season. There's a game left. What do you think, has really helped you develop into the player you want to be this inaugural season?
I feel like, honestly, the people here, the coaches and the players, like, obviously we have just such a great leadership group, and like T was saying, just players who are so like decorated and so talented and skilled, and I think I've learned a lot from watching them just in practice, and even their just encouragement off the ice, and our coaches as well. I've been in center and winger personally, so I think I've tried to just like absorb as much as I can, and especially with the wings, just kind of watching, and obviously everyone's so skilled, so I think that's just really helped me, and I've tried to take as much as I could from everyone on the team. So.
And then Lily, just to sort of piggyback off that too, your growth has been amazing this season, and I feel like now you've got some points on the board, and that feels really great. Do you want to talk us through a little bit how, the assists have been going, and like what goes through your mind when you're in that situation?
Yeah, I think, I guess I was touching on this earlier with the first question, but I feel like our line has done a good job just sticking to the systems, and I find it easier just to know where the other players are, and obviously too, at the beginning, just kind of figuring out the pace of the P-dub. It was just so fast right away, and the physicality too. And I feel like now that been able to play a bit more, and it's later on in the season. I feel like that part's been a bit more comfortable, so now I've been able to, I feel like, focus on a bit more of the systems and just work with my line mates and gain the confidence. So that's been fun too.
For either of you guys, this team has scored 5 goals in 3 of the last 4 games. Just, obviously it's a smaller sample size and you're wrapping the season up, but is there anything that you maybe have seen that's clicked offensively? Is there anything maybe different? Maybe just, Steve's talked a lot throughout the year about just getting bounces. Is it that just anything specifically that's led to, pretty good offensive output here towards the end of the year?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not too sure. I think we've just been focusing on trying to get more pucks to the net, getting more shots, because at the end of the day, you can't really score much if you don't shoot. But yeah, I think it's definitely a little bit of getting better bounces too. I mean, luck's a big part of hockey, so I think that's definitely helped us lately, which maybe wasn't the case like earlier on.
Hey guys, I just want to hear about, the goal plan and what we're playing for right now and how you keep your motivation up. I mean, it's obvious. You guys are still in it to win it and, fighting hard every game. I don't think anybody's doubting that, but I just want to know from your perspective, both of you, how do you keep that motivation going, knowing that playoffs aren't, on the table now, and now we're just playing for a draft pick?
Yeah, I think it's really important because that's something that is a big deal for Seattle's future as well. And it's funny, Steve in between periods was also mentioning that, and he kind of quizzed. He was looking at both T and I, and he called on T hey, what are we playing for here? Yeah, I think both of us did. And yeah, so I think it's just really important, not just for the goal plan and the future of Seattle, but our pride too as a team. I think that's a big piece too that just goes into wanting to win, not just for that, but just the people on the team and Seattle as a community too. So there's a lot on the line too with just the last couple of games. I think there's a lot to play for.
Thank you, guys. Card away. I hope you didn't put the game card away.
No, I did not. I thought about you guys when I nope, don't do that. But if anyone spent any time in Canada, there's a store called Staples up there. Okay, they have this thing called an easy button, and you could hit that. And I swear, maybe game 30 we'll get to hit that at some point. Is hit the easy button. But yeah, watch the replay and seeing Murph on her back. I said to Sheldon, "Is that how you guys drew that up?" No, it just. Yeah, we haven't done anything easy, and we talked about in between periods just willing our way to a win, and our leaders did that. I thought Carps and Hill led the way all night long and in that third period. And again, it's good to have people like Gabby getting a goal, Anna getting a goal, and just I think the big difference here down this last little bit is just the unsung heroes stepping up here of getting things done, which has been really good.
You mentioned Anna there. I think this is 3 goals in her last 2 games and 5 points in her last 2 games. What have you seen click for her? Because for a while, in addition to a lot of your defenders, the points weren't coming. What are you seeing down the stretch here to make her offensive game click?
I mentioned it pregame because her name came up, and going into that Olympics, I think it's difficult because she's an offensive defenseman. Am I going to make the team as an offensive defenseman? Probably not. Am I going to make it as a defending? It messes with your head. And we saw a different player once she got cut. She took a little time, but she's really started to grow, and she's just gotten better and better. And I talked with her, and it's real for me. I said, you could be the Makar here. The way she moves like that, she did it again tonight, and just that little deception with her feet is just growing into that confidence of being that player and being a lead player in this league. And we've seen that here the last little bit of her growing into that. And Barnesy is another one going into Christmas, no points, and just telling her you're playing great. And it's so hard because we do judge ourselves, and you try to have the players don't judge yourselves on the score sheet, judge yourself on what we want to see every night. And Kayla was doing that for us night in, night out. And I said to her, heading into the Olympics, everyone starts at zeros. And you see, I think just here, you do get some points. Life becomes a little easier and you feel better about yourself, but it doesn't change what they've been doing. And yeah, it would be nice to have this as an 80-game season, and maybe we're heading in the right direction with that stuff. But yeah, it's just good to see them getting rewarded.
And talking about the right direction, and 3 of your last 4 games, you've scored 5 goals. Just, you've talked so much throughout the season about getting the bounces. Is it a product of that? Theresa was just talking about how, you know, you're putting more pucks on net seemingly. Just what have you seen offensively to kind of maybe get that production that you're seeing here towards the end of the season?
Yeah, we've worked a lot on the offensive side. We spent a lot of time during the Olympic break doing that, a lot of around the net. And again, just our defense, I think, not just shooting, but shooting with purpose, moving around the zone, players getting to the net. We know this league, the 2 areas, their net and our net. We have to defend it, and that's still an area that we continue to work at and get better at. But you put it in there, our goalies in this league are exceptional down low, so you got to get it to the side, you got to get it up. And I think that's just what we've done here the last little bit, is putting it in from different angles and producing different rebounds for us.
Speaking of which, can you talk a little bit about the Taralova goal? I mean, she really activated there. She was down real low. Was that like a set play or some improvisation from Aneta? Just talk about that goal a little bit.
I usually I stay out of the power play meetings and just let Christine handle it. And it's funny because they came in and just talked about, she actually had that area circled, and it happened. It was, I think, more of a pre-scout type of thing, and I think it was Anna in particular. It was supposed to be down in that area, and she got down there on time, and that's something we talk about, is arriving on time, and she got down there and hammered that home. It was awesome to see.
And then secondly, to talk about your goaltender tonight, I mean, that's
our best defenseman, you mean?
Can you just talk a little bit about her, I think really the mental resolve to close out that game?
Yeah, she was fantastic throughout the whole game, the third period especially, just talking about her moving the puck and having the confidence, and everyone plays their role, and Sheldon, our goalie coach, his role is pre-scouting how players will come, how they'll shoot. One of the things he talked about was just holding on to that puck and being confident, because they'll come, but they'll splinter off. She held on to it and made some great plays, and again, that's something that at the Olympic break, we really talked about. We talked about how many, because of our neutral zone, we get a lot of dump-ins, and they end up on our goaltender a lot, and we weren't doing that really well. We spent a lot of time. We continue to do that, and for Hannah, it was just growing confidence, and for Schroeds, it was just a little bit different for her, is not being so mechanical at it, and both of them have really, really stepped up here in the second half of making plays for us.
So, Coach, pregame, you said your main goal was to make sure that we beat the Minnesota Frost, and you were able to accomplish that. How are you feeling about that win, and how was that final 2 minutes for you? And as someone who sat with fans, that last 2 minutes, there was a little sense of deja vu-ish coming, but we were able to pull it off. How was that for you?
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, one of the things that you say at the end of the year, we beat every team here in this league. So that's good. We hadn't had a good result against Minnesota throughout the year. First game here, I thought we played really well, deserved a better result, but our 2 in Minnesota weren't great. So it was nice to get them here. And then all that stuff, like those last few minutes, even at 12 seconds, you know that it's still possible. So the other night when Vancouver scored, I said to the bench, like, there's still lots of time here. We have to continue to dig in and get this done. And again, when people are desperate, it's just little bounces that can happen. They executed again. They really did. They knocked that into the zone, got in on it. We were fortunate. Hill did a good job to knock it away. And again, can't say enough about Hillary making that big block as well. So yeah, it's nerve-wracking right to the end, especially when you've lost a few, and we have kind of given up a few, so you don't breathe well until you finally shake the coach's hands at the end.
You spoke a little bit about David and her first goal earlier. She talked during one of the intermissions about, how the trust that you have in her and the coaches have in her has really allowed to get her to where she is. What have you seen from her to like allow you to really put that trust in her so far?
She's a player that thinks the game well. She has good skills, and she skates well. I'm just a believer in allowing people to be who they are, number one. Number two is just showing belief and confidence in people, that if you do that, I think it usually comes back tenfold. And someone who's new coming here, you give them opportunity, and when they have moments of failure, you don't bury them. And that's here, we've worked really hard to try to maintain everyone's confidence. It doesn't always happen, but we really are conscious of how we talk to people, how we move them around. Those things, they get read into, and you try to make sure that you're open and honest and clear about what's going on. And again, I think the other part of this was her coming from Sweden with good confidence and belief in herself, that I wanted that just to carry on. And I think she's rewarded us. Yeah, Megan did a great job to identify her. Megan did a great job to identify Theresa. Those are two great additions, and Megan deserves a lot of credit for that.
Hey, Coach, I want to make sure I understand something you said earlier. Do you think that it was kind of trying to be what Team USA wanted her to be that kind of messed with Anna Wilgren's head a little bit for a bit there?
No, it's like if you look at the lineup, and a lot of this is internal, right? She's a skilled defenseman. She's an offensive defenseman. You look up and you see all this, like Megan Keller. I'm terrible with names, but Edwards. Like, there's great skill on that, and it's like, where am I going to fit? So does she change her identity to try to make the team? And that a lot of times is really difficult to do, is change who you are just for a short-term competition. And I know going into it, I don't think she got a ton of ice time in every one of those competitions, so that kind of plays in your, like, am I in, am I out? It's a really big challenge mentally, and I think it'll be nice going into next year without any of that distraction. I think the new expansion teams not having that distractions is a good thing, but it's not something from Team USA. That's just an internal person. Like, how am I going to make this team? And when you look at that lineup, there's just so much skill in front of you. And do I change my game and play differently, right? And that messes with you shift to shift, game to game on how that goes. And I just think once she kind of got out of that, she could just become a Torrent for us and just do what she needs to do for us, which is really a good player.
Just to follow up on something that T said in the availability here, she mentioned you, I guess, asking her or maybe asking the team like what they're playing for. And I was wondering if you could talk about keeping the team motivated at this part of the season, and what are the things that you're playing for?
It's always challenging. I really like this goal plan. I think this should be adopted in a lot of spots. I think it's too easy to, after a trade deadline, boom, we're out, and you play your backup, you do all this. I think it's cool that we're playing for something. I think it helps Minnesota. It'll help Montreal. Like, we're going to try to give our best and get them ready for playoffs. And for us, it's for us to get as high up as possible. So I think it's really good. And yeah, I just wanted to make sure it was clear that what are we playing for here? And I talked about it before. The three things is each other, is finishing as high as possible, and these great fans. I mean, again, tonight, just what a crowd, and the energy, and how they're chanting Murph, how they're chanting referees suck. Like, they're getting it all, you know. They're understanding what it means to be a hockey fan, and those things are important to us. And again, just making sure that just talked about willing our way to a win. And like I said earlier, I thought our leadership did that with Carps and Hill. They really pushed in that third period.
You talk about it right there. I know you talked about Alex's leadership pregame, but I mean her goal going to the net, battling for that puck that's in there and just kind of scrapping her way. Can you just kind of speak to that, because so often in hockey you hear about going to the net and driving on pucks like that, but it really seemed like she kind of embodied that leadership that you were talking about pregame.
Yeah, when we put a game plan together, she's one that is usually pretty spot on with the game plan. And one of the things was rushes, is going to the net, all three players off the rush, because we feel that Minnesota back checks really hard, and to make sure we put pucks at the net, and then that same mentality in the offensive zone is to get those at the net. And yeah, she goes to those hard areas. Her and Hillary go to those hard areas to find those goals, and that's why they consistently get points. And that's where young players or players that aren't scoring, they can look at those veterans and why do you get points night in, night out? It's sticking to the details. It's going to those hard areas that they go to night in, night out. And that's why they're Olympians, gold medalists, and players that are revered in this league.
My last one for you. We had Lily Delianedis in here after post-game, sorry, and she got an assist in this one. What have you seen from that line? Because, I mean, a couple of those players were reserve players, and it seems like they've kind of come in and produced really well. Like, Sydney was 4 of 5 on face-offs tonight. Jada's got a goal. Just can you speak to that line, the effort that they've shown you, and they're producing as well? Yeah, like, just the face-offs alone, that changed the game there. They won 2 in a row there that were really big, that led to that goal being scored. I think they know who they are. As a line, they all can think the game really well. They all compete really well, and they're just a little bit different. Like Jada's really hard on pucks and getting pucks out. Sydney has just an amazing stick. She turns over pucks all over the place and is good at center. And then Lily brings that motor that just doesn't stop, and they just feed off each other really well. Like our neutral zone, we play it a little bit different than other teams, and they hit it. They work off each other. If it's maybe the center that's up, Sid just jumps into the spot. And same with forechecks. They really work well off each other. And again, we talked about being here as a reserve player, that we're going to put a lot of emphasis into development and give, like I've said, Carl Linden, our skills coach, and Christine, lots of credit about just making sure they get developed every day. And